Okay, y'all, now we're starting the part of the book that's called Winter. So, Winter. We just finished Autumn right now. A little bit of coffee. It looks like it's starting to rain again, very slightly. I took a shot of some Casamigos for the first time. It's supposed to be tequila, but tequila and vodka kind of both have like a similar taste. So to me, it's kind of like it's how you brand it. You know, you can sell the same shit, but who could brand it the best, or who could like get it out there the best? You know. I'm down for a beer right now. Liquor before beer, you're in the clear. So, it's actually vodka, not even liquor. But I'm gonna read a little bit more. This section only has 2 chapters. The first chapter right now that we're reading, so it's part 2, Winter, chapter 1. So, my daddy's face is a study. Winter moves into it and presides there. His eyes become a cliff of snow threatening to avalanche. His eyebrows bend like black limbs of leafless trees. His skin takes on pale, cheerless yellow of winter sun. For a jaw, he has the edges of a snowbound field dotted with stubble. His high forehead is the frozen sweep of the eerie, hiding currents of gallid thoughts that eddy in darkness. Wolf killer turned hawk fighter. He worked night and day to keep one from the door and the other from under the windowsills. A Vulcan guarding the flames, he gives instructions about which doors to keep closed or open for proper distribution of heat. Lays kindling by, discusses qualities of coal, and teaches us how to rake, feed, and bank the fire, and he will not unrazor his lips until spring. Winter tightened our heads with a band of cold and melted eyes. We put pepper in the feet. Of stockings, Vaseline on our faces, and stared through the dark icebox morning. Vaseline on our faces and stared through the dark icebox mornings at 4 stewed prunes, slippery lumps of oatmeal, cocoa with a roof of skin. But mostly we waited for spring when there could be gardens. By the time this winter had stiffened itself into a hateful knot that nothing could loosen, something did loosen it. Or rather someone who splintered the knot into silver threads that tangled us, netted us, made us long for the dull chafe of the previous boredom. This disruptor of seasons was a new-grown school named Maureen Peel, a high yellow dream child with long brown hair braided into 2 lynch ropes that hung down her back. She was rich, at least by our standards, as rich as the richest of the white girls, swaddled in comfort and care. The quality of her clothes threatened to derange Frida and me. Patent leather shoes with buckles, a cheaper version of which we not only at Easter and which had disintegrated by the end of May. Patent leather shoes with buckles, a cheaper version of which we got only at Easter and which had disintegrated by the end of May. Fluffy sweaters, the color of lemon drops tucked into skirts with pleats so orderly they astounded us. Brightly colored knee socks with white borders, a brown velvet coat trimmed in white rabbit fur, and a matching muff. There was a hint of spring in her soul green eyes, something summery in her complexion, and a rich autumn ripeness in her walk. She enchanted the entire school. When teachers called on her, they smiled encouragingly. Black boys didn't trip her in the halls. White boys didn't stone her. White girls didn't suck their teeth when she was assigned to be their work partners. Black girls stepped aside when she wanted to use a sink in the girls' toilet in their eyes. Genuflected under sliding lids. She never had to stretch for anybody to eat within the cafeteria. They flocked to the table of her choice, where she opened fastidious lunches, shaming our jelly-stained bread with an egg salad sandwiches cut into 4 dainty squares, pink frosted cupcakes, stalks of celery and carrots, proud dark apples she even bought and liked white milk. Frida and I were bemused, irritated, and fascinated by her. We looked hard for flaws to restore our equilibrium, but had to be content at first with uglying up her name, changing Maureen Peel to Merengue Pie. Later, a minor epiphany was ours when we discovered that she had a dog tooth. A charming one to be sure, but a dog tooth nonetheless. And when she found out that she had been born with 6 fingers on each hand, and that there was a little bump where each extra one had been removed, we smiled. There were small triumphs, but we took what we could get, snickering behind her back and calling her 6-fingered dog tooth Merengue Pie, but we had to do it alone, for none of the other girls would cooperate with our hostility. They adored her. When she was assigned to a locker room next to mine, I could indulge in my jealousy 4 times a day. My sister and I both suspected that we were secretly prepared to be her friend if she would let us, but I knew it would be a dangerous friendship from when my eye traced the white border patterns of those Cali green knee socks and felt the pull and slack of my brown stockings. I wanted to kick her, and when I thought of the unearned haughtiness in her eyes, I plotted accidental slammings of locked doors on her hand. As locker friends, however, we got to know each other a little, and I was even able to hold a sensible conversation with her without visualizing her off a cliff or giggling my way into what I thought was clever insult. One day while I waited at the locker for Frida, she joined me. Hi, waiting for your sister? Uh-huh. Which way do you go home? Down 21st Street to Broadway. Why don't you go down 22nd Street? Because I live on 21st Street. Oh, I can walk that way, I guess, partly anyway. Free country. Frida came toward us, her brown stockings straining at the knees because she had tucked the toe under to hide a hole in the foot. Maureen's gonna walk part way with us. Frida and I exchanged glances, her eyes begging my restraint, mine promising nothing. It was a fall spring day which, like Maureen, had pierced the shell of a deadening winter. There were puddles, mud, and an inviting warmth that deluded us, the kind of day on which we draped our coats over our heads, left our galoshes in school, and came down with croup the following day. We always responded to the slightest change in weather, the most minute shifts in the time of day. Long before seeds were stirring, Frida and I were scuffing and poking at the earth, swallowing air, drinking rain. As we emerged from school with Maureen, we began to molt immediately, M-O-U-L-T, immediately. We put our head scarves in our coat pockets and our coats on our heads. I was wondering how to maneuver Maureen's fur muff into a gutter when a commotion in the playground distracted us. A group of boys was circling and holding at bay a victim, Pacola Breedlove. Bay Boy, Woodrow Kane, Buddy Wilson, Junie Bug, like a necklace of semi-precious stones, they surrounded her, heady with the smell of their own musk, thrilled by the easy power of majority, they gaily harassed her. Black emo, you gotta sleep naked, black emo, yeah, dad sleeps naked, black emo. They had extemporized a verse made up for two insults about matters over which the victim had no control, the color of her skin and speculations on the sleeping habits of an adult, wildly fitting in its incoherence. That they themselves were black or that their own father had similarly relaxed habits was irrelevant. It was their contempt for their own blackness that gave the first insult its teeth. They seemed to have taken all of their smoothly cultivated ignorance, their exquisitely learned self-hatred, their elaborately designed hopelessness, and sucked it all up into a fiery cone of scorn that had burned for ages in the hollows of their minds, cooled and spilled over lips of outrage, consuming whatever was in its path. They danced a macabre ballet around the victim, whom for their own sake they were prepared to sacrifice to the flaming pit. Black emo, your daddy sleeps naked, ta. Pacola edged around the circle crying. She had dropped her notebook and covered her eyes with her hands. We watched, afraid that they might notice us and turn their energies our way. Then Frida, with set lips and mama's eyes, snatched her coat from her head and threw it on the ground. She ran toward them and brought her books down on Woodrow Kane's head. The circle broke. Woodrow Kane grabbed his head. Hey, girl, you cut that out, you hear? I had never heard Frida's voice so loud and clear. Maybe because Frida was taller than he was, maybe because he saw her eyes, maybe because he had lost interest in the game, or maybe because he had a crush on Frida. In any case, Woodrow looked frightened just long enough to give her more courage. Leave her alone or I'm going to tell everybody what you did. Woodrow did not answer. He just walled his eyes. Bay Boy piped up. Go on, gal, ain't nobody bothering you. You shut up, bullethead. I had found my tongue. Who you calling bullethead? I'm calling you bullethead, bullethead. Frida took Pacola's hand. Come on. You want a fat lip? Baby boy drew back his fist at me. Yeah, give me one of yours. You gonna get one. Marine appeared at my elbow, and the boys seemed reluctant to continue under her springtime eyes so wide with interest. They buckled in confusion, not willing to beat up three girls under her watchful gaze, so they listened to a budding male instinct that told them to pretend we were unworthy of their attention. Come on, man. Yeah, come on. We ain't got time to fool with them. Grumbling a few disinterested epithets, they moved away. I picked up Pacola's notebook and Frida's coat, and the four of us left the playground. Old bullethead, he's always picking on girls. Frida agreed with me. Miss Forrester said he was incorrigible. Incorrigival, period. Really? I didn't know what that meant, but it had enough of doom sound in it to be true of Bay Boy. While Frida and I clucked on about the near fight, Maureen suddenly animated, put her velvet-sleeved arm through Pacola's and began to behave as though we were the closest of friends. I just moved here. My name is Maureen Peel. What's yours? Pacola. Pacola. Wasn't that the name of the girl in Imitation of Life? I don't know. What is that? The picture show, you know, where this mulatto girl hates her mother because she is black and ugly, but then cries at the funeral. It was real sad. Everybody cries, and then Claudette Colbert, too. Oh, Pacola's voice was no more than a sigh. Anyway, her name was Pacola, too. She was so pretty. When it comes back, I'm going to see it again. My mother has seen it 4 times. Frida and I walked behind them, surprised at Marine's friendliness of Pecola, but please, maybe she wasn't so bad after all. Frida had put her coat back on her head, and the two of us, so draped, trotted along, enjoying the warm breeze and Frida's heroics. "You're in my gym class, aren't you?" Maureen asked Pecola. "Yes. Miss Erkmeister's legs sure are bow. I bet she thinks they're cute. How come she gets to wear real shorts and we have to wear those old bloomers? I want to die every time I put them on." Pecola smiled, but now look at Maureen. "Hey," Maureen stopped short. "There's an Asailie's. Want some ice cream? I have money." She unzipped a hidden pocket in her muff and pulled out a multi-folded dollar bill. I forgave her those knee socks. "My uncle sued Asailie's," Maureen said to the three of us. "He sued the Asailie's in Akron. They said he was disorderly and that was why they wouldn't serve him. But a friend of his, a policeman, came in and beated the witness, so the suit went through." "What's a suit?" "It's when you can beat them up if you want to and won't anybody do nothing. Our family does it all the time. We believe in suits." At the entrance to Asailie's, Maureen turned to Frida and asked me, asking, "Y'all going to buy some ice cream?" We looked at each other. "No," Frida said. Maureen disappeared into the store of Pecola. Frida looked placidly down the street. I opened my mouth, but quickly closed it. It was extremely important that the world not know that I fully expected Maureen to buy us some ice cream, that for the past 120 seconds I had been selecting the flavor that had begun to like Maureen, and that neither of us had a penny. We supposed Maureen was being nice to Pecola because of the boys and were embarrassed to be caught, even by each other, thinking that she would treat us or that we deserved it as much as Pecola did. The girls came out. Pecola with 2 dips of orange pineapple, Maureen with black raspberry. "You should have got some," she said. "They had all kinds. Don't eat down to the tip of the cone." "Don't eat down to the tip of the cone," she advised Pecola. "Why?" "Because there's a fly in there." "How you know?" "Oh, not really. A girl told me she found one in the bottom of hers once, and ever since she throws that part away." "Oh." We passed the Dreamland Theater, and Betty Grable smiled down at us. "Don't you just love her?" Maureen asked. "Uh-huh," said Pecola. I differed. "Hetty Lamar is better," Maureen agreed. "Oh, yes. My mother told me that a girl named Audrey, she went to the beauty parlor where we lived before and asked the lady to fix her hair like Hetty Lamar's, and the lady said, 'Yeah, when you grow some hair like Hetty Lamar's.'" She laughed long and sweet. "Sounds crazy," said Frida. She sure is. Do you know she doesn't even menstruate yet, and she's 16. Do you see? Do you yet?" "Yes," Pecola glanced at us. "So do I." Maureen made no attempt to disguise her pride. "2 months ago I started. My girlfriend in Toledo, where we lived before, said when she started she was scared to death that she had killed herself." "Do you know what it's for?" Pecola asked the question as though hoping to provide the answer herself. "For babies," Maureen said, 2 pencil-stroke eyebrows at the obviousness of the question. "Babies need blood when they are inside you, and if you are having a baby, then you don't menstruate. But when you're not having a baby, then you don't have to save the blood, so it comes out." "How do babies get the bloods?" asked Pecola. "Through the like line, you know, where your belly button is. That is where the like line grows from that pumps the blood to the baby." "Well, if the belly buttons are to grow like lines to give the baby blood, and only girls have babies, how come boys have belly buttons?" Maureen hesitated. "I don't know," she admitted, "but boys have all sorts of things they don't need." Her tinkling laughter was somehow stronger than her nervous one. She curled her tongue around the edge of the cone, scooping up a dollop of purple that made my eyes water. We were waiting for a stoplight to change. Maureen kept scooping the ice cream from around the cone's edge with her tongue. She didn't bite the edge as I would have done. Her tongue circled the cone. Pecolette finished hers. Maureen evidently liked her things to last. While I was thinking about her ice cream, she must have been thinking about her last remark, for she said to Pecola, "Did you ever see a naked man?" Pecola blinked, then looked away. "No, where would I see a naked man? I don't know. I just asked. I wouldn't even look at him, even if I did see him. That's dirty. Who wants to see a naked man?" Pecola was agitated. "Nobody's father would be naked in front of his own daughter, not unless he was dirty too." "I didn't say father, I just said a naked man." "Well, how come you said father?" Marie wanted to know. "Who else would she see, Dogtooth?" I was glad to have a chance to show anger, not only because of the ice cream, but because we had seen our own father naked and didn't care to be reminded of it, and feel the shame brought on by the absence of shame. He had been walking down the hall from the bathroom into his bedroom and past the open door of our room. We had laid there wide-eyed. He stopped and looked in, trying to see in the dark room whether we were really asleep, or was it his imagination that open eyes were looking at him. Apparently he convinced himself that we were sleeping. He moved away, confident that his little girls would not lie open-eyed like that. Staring. When he had moved on, the dark took only him away, not his nakedness that stayed in the room with us, friendly like. I'm not talking to you," said Maureen. "Besides, I don't care if she sees her father naked. She can look at him all day if she wants. Who cares? You do," said Frida. "That's all you talk about." "It is not. It is so. Boys, babies, and somebody's naked daddy. You must be boy crazy." "You better be quiet. Who's gonna make me?" Frida put her hand on her hip and jutted her face toward Maureen. "You're already made, mammy made." "You stop talking about my mama, or you stop talking about my daddy." "Who said anything about your old daddy?" "You did." "Well, you started it." "I wasn't even talking to you. I was talking to Pecola." "Yeah, about seeing her naked daddy. So what if she did see him?" Pecola shouted. "I never saw my daddy naked, never." "You did too," Maureen snapped. "Babe boy said so." "I did not." "You did." "I did not." "Did. Your own daddy too." Pecola tucked her head in A funny, sad, helpless movement, a kind of hunching of the shoulders, pulling in of the neck as though she wanted to cover her ears. You start talking about her daddy, I said. What do I care about her old black daddy? Asked Maureen. Black? Who you calling black? You. You think you're so cool. So cute. I swung at her and missed, hitting Bacol in the face. Furious at my clumsiness, I threw my notebook at her, but it caught her in the small of her velvet back, for she had turned and was flying across the street against traffic. Safe on the other side, she screamed at us, I am cute, and you ugly, black and ugly, black emos, I am cute. What a horrible way she's acting, you know. She ran down the street, the green knee socks making her legs look like wild dandelion stems that had somehow lost their heads. The weight of her remarks stunned us, and it was a second or two before Frida and I collected ourselves enough to shout, Six-fingered dog-tooth meringue pie. We chanted this most powerful of arsenal of insults as long as we could see the green stems and rabbit fur. Grown people frowned at the three girls on the curbside, two with their coats draped over their heads, the collars framing the eyebrows like nun habits, black garters showing where they bit the tops of brown stockings that barely covered their knees. Angry faces nodded like dark cauliflowers. Bacola stood a little apart from us, her eyes hinged in the direction in which Maureen had fled. She seemed to fold into herself like a pleated wing. Her pain antagonized me. I wanted to open her up, crisp her edges, ram a stick down that hunched and curving spine, force her to stand erect and spit the misery out on the streets, but she held it in where it could lap up into her eyes. Frida snatched her coat from her head. Come on, Claudia. Bye, Piccola. We walked quickly at first and then slower, pausing every now and then to fasten garters, tie shoelaces, scratch, or examine old scars. We were sinking under the wisdom, accuracy, and relevance of Maureen's last words. If she was cute, and if anything could be believed she was, then we were not. And what did that mean? We were lesser, nicer, brighter, but still lesser? Dolls we could destroy, but we could not destroy the honey voices of parents and aunts, the obedience in the eyes of our peers, the slippery light in the eyes of our teachers when they encountered the Maureen Peels of the world. What was the secret? What did we lack? Why was it important? And so what? Guileless and without vanity, we were still in love with ourselves, and we felt comfortable in our skins, enjoyed the news that our senses released to us, admired our dirt, cultivated our scars, and could not comprehend this unworthiness. Jealousy we understood and thought natural, desired to have what somebody else had, but envy was strange. Envy was a strange new feeling for us, and all the time we knew that Maureen Peel was not the enemy and not worthy of such intense hatred. The thing to fear was the thing that made her beautiful, not us. The house was quiet when we opened the door. The acrid smell of simmering turnips filled our cheeks with sour saliva. Mama! There was no answer but a sound of feet. Mr. Henry shuffled part of the way down the stairs. One thick, hairless leg leaned out of his bathrobe. Hello there, Greta Garbo. Hello, Ginger Rogers. We gave him the giggle he was accustomed to. Hello, Mr. Henry. Where's Mama? She went to your grandma's. Left word for you to cut off the turnips and eat some graham crackers till she got back. They in the kitchen. We sat in silence at the kitchen table, crumbling the crackers into anthills. In a little while, Mr. Henry came back downstairs. Now he had his trousers on under his robe. Say, wouldn't you all like some cream? Oh yes, sir. Here's a quarter. Go on over to Isoles and get yourself some cream. You've been good girls, ain't you? His light green words restored color to the day. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Henry. We tell Mama for us if she comes, sure. But she ain't due back for a spell. Coatless, we left the house and had gotten all the way to the corner when Frida said, I don't want to go to Isoles. What? I don't want ice cream. I want potato chips. They got potato chips at Isoles. I know, but why go all that long way? Miss Bertha got potato chips, but I want ice cream. No, you don't, Claudia. I do too. Well, you going to Isoles, I'm going to Miss Bertha's, but you got the quarter and I don't want to go all the way up there by myself. Then let's go to Miss Bertha's. You like her candy, don't you? It's always stale and she always runs out of stuff. Today is Friday. She orders fresh on Friday. And then that crazy old soap head Church lives there. So what? We're together. We'll run if he does anything to us. He scares me. Well, I don't want to go up by Isoles. Suppose meringue pie is hanging around. You want to run into her, Claudia? Come on, Frida. I'll get candy. Miss Bertha had a small candy snuff and tobacco store, one brick room sitting in her front yard. You had to peep in the door, and if she wasn't there, you knocked on the door of her house in the back. This day she was sitting behind the counter reading a Bible in a tube of sunlight. Frida bought potato chips, and we got 3 Powerhouse bars for 10 cents and had a dime left. We hurried back home to sit under the lilac bushes on the side of the house. We always did our candy dance there so Rosemary could see us and get jealous. The candy dance was a humming, skipping, foot-tapping, eating, smacking combination that overtook us when we had sweets. Creeping between the bushes in the side of the house, we heard voices and laughter. We looked into the living room window, expecting to see Mama. Instead, we saw Mr. Henry and 2 women. In a playful manner, the way grandmothers do with babies, he was sucking the fingers of one of the women, whose laughter filled a tiny place over his head. The other woman was buttoning her coat. We knew immediately who they were, and our flesh crawled. One was China, and the other was called the Maginot Line. The back of my neck itched. They were fancy women of the maroon nail polish that Mama and Big Mama hated in our house. China was not too horrible, at least not in our imagination. She was thin, aging, absent-minded, and unaggressive, but the Maginot Line, that was the one my mother said she wouldn't let eat out of one of her plates. That was the one church woman never allowed their eyes to rest on. That was the one who had killed people, set them on fire, poisoned them, cooked them, and lied. Although I thought the Maginot Line's face, hidden under all that fat, was really sweet, I had heard too many black and red words about her, seen too many mouths go triangle at the mention of her name to dwell on any redeeming features she might have. Showing brown teeth, China seemed to be genuinely enjoying Mr. Henry. The sight of him licking her fingers brought to mind the girly magazines in his room. A cold wind blew somewhere in me, lifting little leaves of terror and obscure longing. I thought I saw a mild lonesomeness cross the face of the Maginot Line, but it may have been my own image that I saw in the slow flaring of her nostrils and her eyes that reminded me of the waterfalls in movies about Hawaii. The Maginot Line yawned and said, "Come on, China, we can't hang in here all day. Then people be home soon. She moved toward the door. Frida and I dropped down to the ground, looking wildly into each other's eyes. When the women were some distance away, we went inside. Mr. Henry was in the kitchen opening a bottle of pop. "Back already?" "Yes, sir." "Cream all gone?" His little teeth looked so kindly and helpless. Was that really our Mr. Henry with China's fingers? "We got candy instead." "You did, huh?" Old Sugar Tooth Greta Garbo. He wiped the bottle sweat and turned it up to his lips, a gesture that made me uncomfortable. "Who were those women, Mr. Henry?" He choked on the pop and looked at Frida. "What you say?" "Those women," she repeated, "who just left. Who were they?" "Oh," he laughed, the grown-up getting ready to lie laugh. "A he, we knew well. Those were some members of my Bible class. We read the scriptures together, and so they came today to read with me." "Oh," said Frida, "I was looking at his house slippers to keep from seeing those kindly teeth frame a lie." He walked toward the stairs and then turned back to us. "Bed, not mention it to your mother. She don't take to so much Bible study and don't like me having visitors, even if they're good Christians." "No, sir, Mr. Henry, we won't." He rapidly mounted the stairs. "Should we ask? Tell Mama?" Frida sighed. She had not even opened her Powerhouse bar or her potato chips, and now she traced the letters on the candy wrappers with her fingers. Suddenly she lifted her head and began to look all around the kitchen. "No, I guess not. No plates are out." "Plates? What are we talking about now? No plates are out." The Maginot didn't eat out of one of Mama's plates. Besides, Mama would just fuss all day if we told her. We sat down and looked at the graham cracker anthills we had made. "We better cut off the turnips. They'll burn and Mama will whip us," she said. "I know. But if we let them burn, we don't have to eat them." "Hey, what a lovely idea," I thought. "What you want, a whipping and no turnips, or turnips and no whippings?" "I don't know. Maybe we could burn them just a little so Mama and Daddy can eat them, but we can say we can't." "Okay, I made a volcano out of my anthill." "Frida, what? What did Woodrow do that you was gonna tell?" "Wet the bed. Mrs. Kane told Mama he won't quit." "Oh, nasty." The sky was getting dark. I looked out of the window and saw snow falling. I poked my finger down in the mouth of my volcano and it toppled, dispersing the golden grains into little swirls. The turnip got crackled. Alright, that was the end of part 2, which is Winter, chapter 1. I'm gonna have to use the restroom again. And alright, well, thank you.